Well, Nigeria's cocoa farmers are facing a new hurdle to accessing the European market. The European Union's deforestation regulation will require importers to prove that commodities such as cocoa were not produced on land linked to recent deforestation. That means exporters will need to trace the beans back to the specific farm where they were grown. For farmers, this means having their farms mapped and geolocated and following rules on land use and labor. The regulation has already been delayed twice, but the compliance deadline is now approaching in December 2026.
It's now getting to the farmers now that by the end of this year, December 26th, their product will not be allowed out of the country if they don't comply with the EUDR laws. So most farmers now are planning to map the remaining of their farms.
The stakes are high for Nigeria's cocoa industry. The country has around 300,000 mostly small-scale farmers, while the EU accounts for about 60% of global purchases. Industry experts warn that farmers producing more than half of Nigeria's cocoa could struggle to meet the new requirements. Compliance is particularly difficult because farms are often small, remote, and spread across large rural areas. Exporters must even map individual plots, verify land use, and maintain digital records across the supply chain. They must also demonstrate compliance with Nigerian laws, including rules against child and forced labor.
I inherited this land from my father. The advice I received from Sunbeth was that I do not have any right whatsoever to cut down trees on this farm. However, I have the full right to plant whatever I choose, including plantain, replanting cocoa, and planting any trees of my choice, such as fruit trees. Lastly, I was advised not to use underage children as labor.
For exporters, compliance comes with a significant cost. Sunbeth Global says it has spent 3 years mapping 124,000 hectares of farmland, covering around 60,000 tons of cocoa in its supply chain. The company estimates the process costs between $30 and $70 per ton, and hundreds of field agents have also been deployed to train farmers and collect the required data. But exporters say EU buyers have so far resisted fully absorbing these additional costs, putting pressure on margins. The result could be two-tier cocoa market, traceable EU-compliant cocoa for Europe, and conventional cocoa for markets in Asia and Africa.
It's definitely going to create two markets. The EUDR compliance ones, which are basically going to European Union, and the other one, that the conventional one that will go to outside the European Union, which are maybe Asia, even in regional markets in African regional markets, the Asia and the like. So that's definitely going to create two distinct line of exports, EUDR compliant basically to EU region, and the other ones, the conventional one.